I've consulted to a variety of Premier League football clubs such as Everton. You know, one day I'm speaking to one of my athletes and he asks me, can he take CBD? Are there any risks of, when you consume a CBD product, having any other cannabinoids within there that could result in an anti-doping rule violation? We're not sat here today holding a little Naturecan bottle and proclaiming the benefits of it. It's a genuine partnership for the goodness of anyone who's interested in CBD. As scientists, we need to explore this.
I'm here, Paul Finnegan, co-founder of Naturecan. I'm here with Professor Graeme Close today. We've had the honour of working here for the last couple of years, working on a few studies. Would you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Back in the mid-90s, I was trying to make it as a professional rugby league player, and I was lucky enough to have a couple of seasons playing professionally. So I've been here now for many years. I'm now a professor here. I'm also now consulting to a variety of elite sporting organisations. So since 2014, I've been the lead nutritionist of the England Rugby Union side, about to go into our third World Cup campaign. I'm currently the head of sport nutrition for the DP World Tour Golf and Ryder Cup teams. And then over the past decade, I've consulted to a variety of Premier League football clubs such as Everton, Aston Villa, and most recently working in professional boxing with Dillian White, the heavyweight boxing champion. So they keep me on my toes, and if I don't get my information right, I know exactly what's going to happen to me. So when I'm working with these elite athletes, they often bring me unanswered questions, and that was exactly the case with CBD, where, you know, one day I'm speaking to one of my athletes and he asks me, can he take CBD? And that's been the start of an unbelievable journey, and one that I can see me spending the rest of my academic career in.
And as you say, it's been very short the time where CBD has come to prominence to now being studied by this fantastic institution, the likes of yourself.
Yeah, so if we go back to where it all started for me, players always want to know 2 or 3 key questions. And when you've not worked in sport, you think it's purely on performance. It's more about recovery, relaxation, sleep, well-being. And at the time, a lot of people were talking about CBD being really important in helping people sleep, helping relaxation, and helping recover from the demands of exercise. But the research just wasn't there. So as a scientist, if somebody says to me, is this a good product to take? I'm really uncomfortable when I've not got an evidence base to ground my advice in.
And rugby has been one that's been an early adopter of CBD.
Yeah, well, whenever you work in a sport like rugby, you're going to come across muscle soreness and issues in recovery and regeneration, where you've got 30 giant human beings, high-speed collisions, repeat, go again. It's no wonder that pain and pain management is important. Now, traditionally, back in my day, we were using things like the non-steroidals, and almost getting addicted to the likes of tramadol or long-term use of ibuprofen, which we know has some serious side effects. We actually did a questionnaire study a few years ago asking elite rugby players, are you using it? If so, why, etc. And a little bit to my surprise, 26% of all these players we asked had either used or were still using CBD. Now, that's a huge, over a quarter of the rugby population being early adopters, as you put it. As scientists, we need to explore this.
So, Professor, what sports would you say are using CBD the most at the moment?
I would say, from my experience, it's collision-based sports. So we know from the literature that it's quite prevalent in sports like MMA. One of the reasons we're doing these studies is to look at not only the efficacy of will it help, will it work, in what context, but also from an anti-doping perspective. So as you know, back in 2018, WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency, removed CBD. What they didn't do, to the bane of my life, is remove any of the other cannabinoids. So a massive question we've got in elite sport for the drug-tested athlete is, are there any risks of, when you consume a CBD product, having any other cannabinoids within there that could result in an anti-doping rule violation? And that's the key study that we're doing here, because it's always my biggest fear that an athlete fails an anti-doping test when they're not actually trying to cheat, they're not trying to do anything wrong, it's just a mistake. Now, everyone's interested in THC For me, THC is less of a problem, because what WADA have done with THC is said it's banned above a certain limit. So what we really need to know is, within a broad spectrum product, what is that doing to a cannabinoid profile in the human, in the blood and the urine, to actually see, does a broad spectrum pose any risk from an anti-doping rule violation?
So that being said, Professor, do you think that cannabis will eventually by WADA be taken off completely to allow all of these different cannabinoids at least certain levels to be?
Well, that's a great question. So for a product to be banned by WADA, it needs to hit 2 out of 3 criteria. The first criteria is performance enhancing. The second thing is dangerous to health. Now, there's nuances within that, isn't there? Because lots of things are dangerous to health. You know, for example, alcohol. Now, you can start controlling that in terms of amounts and purities and qualities. And then the third one is against the spirit of sport, which I'm not sure anyone really understands what that means. I've always taken that to mean an illegal product. So given that cannabis is still illegal, that's one of the criteria. And then it's not performance enhancing. So we're now in this world of, is it dangerous to health? And I believe WADA each year over the last couple of years are having more and more conversations about, should cannabis come off, so all the cannabinoids come off the prohibited list.
Professor, why did you choose to do this partnership with Naturecan?
I was looking for any reputable brand who was willing to fund some research. So one of the main reasons that I've enjoyed our partnership today is that at no point have you guys put me under any pressure to be a salesperson. We're not sat here today holding a little Naturecan bottle and proclaiming the benefits of it. It's a genuine partnership for the goodness of anyone who's interested in CBD. And actually, we, working between John Moores and Naturecan, are in a prime position now to really be pioneers here and actually answer the questions that the world wants answering when it comes to CBD.
Definitely. No, exciting times ahead.